Hey there. Today I'm going to be giving a very quick explanation on queues. Now, what is a queue? First of all, it's a data structure. And in particular, it is a first in, first out data structure. What that means is that unlike, well, put those in the wrong order, but unlike an array or a list, you can't just grab whatever element you want. So let's say you want element 1, you won't be able, or element at index 1, you won't be able to just go and grab it like this. You'll have to get the very first element first. So the analogy used for a queue is like a line at a restaurant or a line at some public bathroom or something. You have your little line here at the concession stand. And whenever someone shows up, they're going to go to the front of the line, and then the next person is going to come and they're going to go behind them, and then anyone else that arrives is going to go to the back of the line. Once the first person is done, they'll leave, and the next person will be up, and so on and so on. Very, very easy to understand because we use queues all the time in our normal lives. Now, if you were to visualize a queue, it would look sort of like this. You have a pipe going left to right, and there are two important terms to understand with a queue. There's the head, which is sort of the front of the queue, and there is the tail, which is the back of the queue. So you can imagine in our little example before, the first person to arrive in line would come over here to the head, and the last person would be at the tail. So if you want to add to a queue, you can call the enqueue method. And what that does is it'll take the element that you want to enqueue, pop it in at the tail, and slide it over to the head. If you call it a couple more times, you'll see it continues to enter from the tail, and it'll stop right behind the head, or right behind the next element that it's waiting behind. And you can do that a couple times. You'll get a whole bunch waiting in the line, or in the queue. Now, if you wanted to get a queue, or an element from the queue, you would call the dequeue method. And that will return from the head, or the front of the queue. So in this case, you'd go ahead and just grab this element, pop it out, and return it. And then once that one's gone, all the rest of them will move forward, and then the next dequeue will take the next element in line and remove that, and so on until your queue is empty. Of course, you can't dequeue when there's an empty queue, and you won't be able to enqueue if there's a capacity and the queue is full. But yeah, important things to remember. First in, first out. The first element that enters is the first one to exit. The reverse of a stack. You use enqueue to add an element to the queue. Use dequeue to remove from the queue. A head is the front of the queue, and the tail is the back of the queue, metaphorically speaking. Queues are used very often in operating systems and anything that sort of needs to control traffic that comes in order. So it's used a lot for task scheduling, and it's used often for printer queues or web servers. Anytime someone's requesting something, but they need to wait for the next person to be done, you'll use a queue. Hopefully that was helpful. And yep, take care.